Hey, I'm Austin, and this is my wife Anna. I work in marketing here in Indianapolis.
I am a mom to our 4-year-old son Landon, and I also take him with me and nanny 2 other girls full time. And we would love to tell you our story about becoming a part of Antioch and a church like home. We got married July 28th, 2012, and at that time we were living in Indianapolis. I've been in Indianapolis my whole life, and Austin had moved there he grew up in northern Indiana, and at the time we were going to a church that I had gone since I was about 15 years old, and Austin had started once we got married. We had a pretty tragic thing happen in the summer of 2016. I was pregnant, about almost 20 weeks pregnant, and we lost the baby. And so just feeling like all of those feelings, and then not kind of like putting ourselves isolated from people because we were still reeling in that pain.
And we just kind of hit that point when we had the miscarriage, and we realized that we hadn't really dug roots at this place. We'd been there for her for pretty much her whole life, and for me for 6 years, and it was just pretty obvious how easy it was to isolate ourselves. It wasn't because people didn't want to come around us in like a time of crisis or anything like that. It was because when things were good and when we were really building our foundation there, we hadn't built roots and we hadn't dug in. And so then when something did happen that we felt like we needed support, we didn't have the foundation set for it, and it wasn't there.
It was probably 6 months later.
Yeah.
Our first morning at Antioch was the very first Sunday of 2017 when we did the We're Moving In series.
Antioch was the first place that we came to, and I remember leaving that first Sunday, and we hadn't even tried any other church, and just saying that felt like we were supposed to be there that morning.
By far the biggest thing that has changed our lives is coming to a life group. And that was a big step for us because it's just meant a lot of things. We both work full time. We don't get home till like 7 o'clock, and some nights we just don't want to go to life, like not to go to life group, but don't want to go do something else. And our son goes to bed at 8 o'clock, and like life group ends at 8:30, but like we knew that we wanted to go to life group, and so
we were talking to Mark Frazee about life groups and about theirs and when it meets, and we figured we'd just go there because we already know them. And basically he said, no, actually you need to go to this other one that's a lot further from your house with all people that you've never met before.
Yeah, we didn't know anybody, I don't think, going in.
Yeah,
no.
It was about the most loving thing he could have done for us, I think,
honestly.
because it was really the perfect fit for us. And honestly, we felt comfortable pretty quickly,
right? Luca was very
like ran
quick
and
to
hugged
welcome
us,
us.
and it was awesome.
I think one of the first few weeks I told a girl and the leader of our life group, Sarah Best, just like, this is what happened last year to us, like this is where we're at, and she was just like super blown away. Like she was just like, I'm so thankful that you're telling me this, like I've like barely met you, like this is crazy, like we're so happy that you're here, and that was just like a weight off of me. Like I was just like, oh, like somebody's listening. I joined a discipleship group, and they were the ones that really pushed me to kind of like spend time in the Word. For me, that has changed my life drastically, is to open my Bible. It's the first thing I do every morning, at least I try. Some days are harder than others, but it's a huge step. It means me waking up at 5:30 in the morning and opening my Bible and reading and hearing from Him and asking Him what He wants to tell me. And that's just changed my walk this year. And it's mainly because I was pushed by girls in a group to tell me to do it. Being a part of community can also be messy, and so taking that step, we knew like this could also get really messy and could be really hard. And like, to be honest, like we're trying for another baby, and like things aren't going to our plan, and everybody in our life group is pregnant or had a baby. And so some nights it's hard for me to walk into life group and see growing bellies and be invited to baby showers. And for me, dealing with that and walking through that is pretty much, when I really think about it, kind of just came into my head, but like Jesus is the ultimate friend. For me, it's going to the quiet place in the mornings, and I really honestly, like, I've never really had any type of thing where like we've been at life group and I'm just like, this is so terrible. Like, but I've done that in the quiet place and I've dealt with it there. Most times I walk into life group and I'm like, nope, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna be happy. So for me, it's more of knowing who my number one is, and knowing that like he can hear anything that I'm dealing with, and then it helps me live it out and like express it to other people.
There's a lot of layers to it and a lot of dimensions to living in community and living in what the Lord is doing in our church. And for us, we are believing and praying for another baby and for our family to grow, and we know that our life group and that our church and that our community is behind us in that, and we're all going together. And I think the life group, and I think this church, and I think how the Lord is moving and what we're doing has really just stirred some things in our hearts personally, that have just pushed us a lot deeper than what we've been before. But I think we're also not in a place of contentment. I think we've hit a good spot where we found a family that we love here, but we're not satisfied with where we're at. We want to keep going deeper and keep growing, and awesome things are happening in our church, and I just have this stirring in my heart that I want to see it more and more. There's so much more that we're starting to jump into, and I'm not saying that we couldn't have done that on our own. I'm not saying that the Lord wasn't going to meet us and redeem us and restore our miscarriages and push us forward in our family. But even if He was, I think it's a lot more fun to do it in community. It's a lot better to rejoice with those around you. It's a lot better to relish in what the Lord has done when you're seeing it happen to everybody, and you're not walking the good or the bad alone. You're doing it all together.
We are going to have another baby. Like, it's going to happen. Like, we don't care like who tells us no. Like, this is like inevitable. So everybody get ready.